He never planned to spy on the woman he loved, but when a single comment shook his trust, the millionaire disguised himself as a driver. And what he heard his fiancée say in the back seat shattered him in ways money never could. Yet what she confessed next changed everything. Adrian Hale, one of the youngest self-made millionaires in the city, had everything people admired: power, influence, and a quiet charm that made others think he lived a life free of pain. But despite his wealth, Adrian had one vulnerable spot: he had never felt loved for who he truly was. Not once. That's why when he met Ella Carter, a kind but mysterious woman who seemed uninterested in his wealth, his heart clung to her like a lifeline. Ella was warm, graceful, and treated him as if he were just Adrian. Not the millionaire. Not the tycoon. Just a man. For the first time in years, he felt seen. But just 3 weeks before their wedding, Adrian overheard two board members joking about Ella being too perfect to be real, and suggested she might be after his fortune. The seed of doubt, once planted, began to grow. That night, lying awake in his penthouse, Adrian stared at the ceiling. What if they're right? What if she sees me as a walking bank account? What if I'm repeating my parents' story? His father had died heartbroken after learning that his wife, Adrian's mother, had stayed with him purely for the money. Adrian was barely 12 when he watched that truth destroy his family. He refused to repeat that mistake. So the next morning, Adrian made a choice he never thought he'd make. He disguised himself as a driver to hear the truth from Ella, unfiltered. He trimmed his hair, put on a cap, changed his posture, deepened his voice, and wore cheap clothing. Even his closest employees wouldn't have recognized him. He borrowed an old car from one of his employees and drove to Ella's apartment. When she stepped outside, wearing a simple pastel dress and holding a gift bag, she smiled politely. "Oh, you must be the replacement driver. Adrian said he'd send one today." He nodded, trying to hide the tremor in his voice. "Yes, ma'am." "Where to?" "Downtown. I'm meeting my friend Lily." As he drove, he watched her through the rearview mirror. She seemed calm. Not calculating. Not fake. Just herself. But the moment she met Lily at the cafe, the truth would come out, he told himself. Friends always tell friends the truth. He parked and remained in the car, pretending to check his phone while actually listening through the lowered window just a crack. Ella sat with Lily, sipping tea. Her friend leaned in with a mischievous smirk. "So, how's life with Mr. Millions? Must be nice, huh?" Adrian felt his heartbeat spike. His stomach tightened. This was it. Ella sighed, a long, tired, heartfelt sigh. But what she said next made Adrian's world tilt. "Lily, I don't care about his money. I wish he'd believe me. Honestly, he feels lonelier than anyone I know. Rich, yes. But lonely. Deeply." Adrian froze. Ella continued, voice cracking slightly. "I'm marrying Adrian because I love him. Not his wealth. Not his reputation. Him. I just hope, someday, he trusts me enough to believe that." Something inside Adrian shattered, but it wasn't pain. It was relief. And guilt. He had doubted the one person who had never doubted him. Still, he needed to hear more. He needed to be absolutely sure. On the ride back, Ella asked softly, "Can I tell you something? I don't know why, but you seem trustworthy." Adrian swallowed hard. "Yes, ma'am." She held her hands together nervously. "Adrian thinks he has to be perfect all the time. But I don't want perfection. I want a partner. I want him. Money or no money." Adrian felt the sting of tears behind his eyes. When he dropped her off, she leaned forward slightly, whispering, "Whatever you do in life, don't make the mistake of judging people before you know their heart." She smiled warmly and closed the door. Adrian remained frozen in the driver's seat long after she left. He had learned the truth. But the truth was about him. Not her. That night, Adrian could barely sleep. Ella's words echoed in his mind like a soft melody and a sharp rebuke all at once. The next morning, he asked Ella to meet him at the private garden behind his estate. She arrived wearing a simple dress, her hair tied back, confusion in her eyes. Adrian. You look troubled. He took a deep breath, hands shaking slightly. Ella, before anything else, I owe you the truth. She frowned gently. What truth? He stepped closer, removing the cap he had worn earlier, the same one he wore as the driver. Ella's eyes widened. No. Her hand covered her mouth. That was you. Adrian nodded, shame clouding his voice. I was afraid. I doubted you. I didn't want to repeat my father's mistakes. So I disguised myself, just to hear what you truly felt about me. Ella stepped back, hurt filling her eyes. So you didn't trust me at all? I wanted to, but my fear was louder than my heart. Silence fell between them. Heavy. Cold. But then Ella looked directly into his eyes, not with anger, but with deep sadness. Adrian, love without trust is already broken. He lowered his head. I know. And I promise I will spend my life rebuilding what I broke. Not because I fear losing you, but because I finally understand how much you see me. The real me. Tears filled Ella's eyes. Do you? She whispered. Yes. Because when I dressed like a driver, without my cars, my suits, my name, you still defended me. You still loved me. You still saw men worth respecting. Ella's expression softened slightly. And what did you learn? She asked quietly. That I don't need to test you, he replied. I need to trust you. And I need to heal, from my past, from my fears, from the belief that I'm unlovable without money. Ella walked toward him slowly, placing her hand on his cheek. I never wanted your money, Adrian. I wanted your heart. And you have it, he whispered. She smiled through her tears. Then don't hide it from me again.